You ever opened your website analytics and thought, people are actually coming to my website. Why isn't anybody buying? You're getting clicks, people are viewing your products, your ads are generating traffic, your social media is sending people to your website. So naturally you think you're getting closer, but then you check your sales, nothing, right? That's one of the frustrating parts about being in business, right? Because you've already solved one of the hardest problems, and that's getting attention. But attention and buying intent are not the same thing, right? And so traffic proves you can get somebody's attention. Sales prove you've created enough value for them to give you their money, right? And so here's 5 reasons why you might be getting traffic but no sales. You're attracting curious people instead of potential customers. Customers don't see enough value to justify the price. Your website isn't creating enough trust. Your offer isn't giving people a strong enough reason to buy. There's too much friction between wanting the product and completing the purchase, right? So clicks tell you that your marketing got their attention. Sales tell your business you earned their money, right? So why are you getting traffic but no sales? If you're building a business, trying to turn attention into customers, learning how to create something people actually value, like, comment, and follow for more. Make sure you go to instracell.com and pick you up a cool, inspirational t-shirt today, right? And so I got a great show for you today, my Sharp Minds on the Sharp Mind Show. And it's called, Why Am I Getting Website Traffic But No Sales? Right? And so the mistake most business owners make is assuming that every website visitor is a potential customer, right? And so imagine, you're a storefront on a street, right? Everyone that drives by is not necessarily your potential customer, right? They might just be passing through town, whatever. But being on that busy street makes you feel like, okay, there's more of a chance we're going to get a sale because it's a busy street, right? And so it's like, when somebody opens a business by Walmart and it fails, you're like, how does a business by Walmart fails? You've got so much traffic, right? And so, but traffic feels like progress. So when the number increases, we assume sales should automatically increase with it, right? But there's many reasons that people can click, right? And so there's many reasons people are driving by your store, right? Could be curious, could be entertained, could be researching, they could be comparing prices, and just because your ad got their attention, right? So I see this all the time, right, with InstaSell. I'll run an ad and I'll get thousands of people to the website and no sales, right? And so you got to figure out where on the website, or where's the disconnect? Is the disconnect in the ad? Like, so the ad got a lot of attention, but it's not actually the customer that you want. It's not actually a person that likes wearing t-shirts like this, right? Is your price too high? Maybe they like wearing t-shirts like this, but they like the $3 version instead of the $30 version, right? So the real question is, don't ask how many people are visiting. Ask whether you're attracting the right people with the right intent, right? So compare where your traffic's coming from and how visitors from different sources behave after they arrive, right? And so, that TikTok customer might be 12 years old and not have permission to get a t-shirt, right? But, that the 30-year-old customer doesn't have to have permission. They can just get what they want, right? So it just depends, right? So why are people looking at my products and not buying them, right? The mistake is assuming that interest means the customer sees enough value to purchase. right? And so business owners naturally value their own products because they know everything that went into creating them. Customers do not know this, right? So someone might think your shirt looks good without believing it's worth $30, $40, or $50 to them, right? And so, you know, at one time I thought I really was at like a higher price point at $30, and now I'm seeing, you know, $45, $50 for more. So now I'm actually feel like I'm a lower price option for most of these most of these t-shirts. But and so when I make a shirt, right? And so when I come up with an idea, so how did I lose? I started with nothing. You know, originally started as I started with nothing. How can I lose? Right? And so I made 10 different versions of this saying, number one. And then I made 10 different versions of each one with different color schemes and different, you know, all kinds of stuff, right? And so when I finally get to a finished copy, I send it to 5 to 10 people to see what they think, right? And if 8 or 9 of the 10 say they like it, okay, we'll run with it. You know, but there's a difference between those 8 or 10 people saying they like it and that translating into 1,000 people like it, right? And so if you do a run of 1,000 shirts, you say, well, 10 people you sent it to like it, they're willing to buy it. So you got 990 shirts left to sell, right? And so this is called sample size, right? And so a lot of people will say like, okay, well, you know, these 10 people like it, so the 1,000 people should like it too. It's not necessarily the case, right? And so that's why I personally start with smaller runs. And it also makes it more valuable because there's less supply, right? So if I do get a demand of 150, 200 shirts, then the supply is 150, 200 shirts and worth the $30 price point, right? So, but when you send it to those 10 people, they compliment it, they like it, they heart it, whatever, but they don't go try to buy it, then you know it's dead, right? But compliments aren't validation, purchases are, right? And so you send it to them and you say, you know, I mean, I've even, you know, basically done a full sales pitch on these people. You know, okay, you like it, make sure you buy it. Make sure you go get it. Here's the link, you know, whatever. And if they don't do it, you know, it's not a good fit. They're not the customer, whatever. Right? So, but that's my process, right? And the way you keep a business alive is to decrease your risk, right? And so when you decrease your risk, right? And so, you know, say it costs all in to package, ship the whole 9 yards, it costs you $15 to ship a shirt, and you're selling it for $30, you know, theoretically you're making $10 a shirt or so, roughly, right? And so, but it costs you $15 a piece, right? And yeah, when you do big, huge runs, 1,000, 2,000 shirts, you're going to have smaller costs than that, right? But if you're doing a 150 shirt run, you know, you're talking about $15 or more a piece, right? And so 15 times 100 is $1,500, right? All in shipped, right? So, you know, if you had done the same run of 1,000 for $5, say you're getting it down to $5 now because you've done 1,000 units. Now you're talking about $5,000, right? And a lot more product. So you can see how the price is a lot lower, so you can make a lot more money, right? If you do that, but you're also risking triple the amount. So instead of risking $1,500, you're risking $5,000, right? And so, you don't have a confirmation that the shirt that you have is valuable enough to make that big run, right? But if you do that 100 shirt run and in 2 minutes it's gone, you're going to take that 1,500 that you just made and you're going to immediately reinvest and get the 1,000 shirt run, and your margin on the second run is going to be a lot bigger. And so then you sell 700 of the 1,000 because you got a hot shirt. Then you've made some real money, right? You've made $20, $15, $20 a shirt, right? So it's a lot different, right? But you don't start that, you don't start the big run first, right? And so until you get confirmation that it's actually a winner, right? So, but that's my process. Let me know what your process is down below. Like, are you buying the 100 shirt order first, or are you doing 1,000 shirts, 5,000 shirts, 10,000 shirt orders without confirmation? Let me know what you think in the comments below. But why are customers adding to the cart and not checking out? So the mistake is assuming that adding to the cart means a sale is basically finished, right? The checkout process can introduce new reasons to reconsider, right? So uninspected shipping costs, right? So my shipping's included, right? I include shipping, right? Delivery time. So they want a shirt, but it's gonna, your delivery time's 2 weeks, right? Well, they're not willing to wait 2 weeks on it. The taxes put it outside of the realm. They got to create an account. Too many checkout steps, limited payment options, right? So they want to pay with Apple Pay. You don't accept Apple Pay, right? Or simply seeing the final total and they just feel like it's not worth it, right? The lesson here is every unnecessary obstacle between I want this and I bought this creates another opportunity to lose the customer. So when you're thinking about this situation, you're thinking about this scenario, you actually need to go through and purchase from your own website, from a phone, from a computer, do both. And so if I have influencers or athletes joining the team, I have them go to the website and actually complete a purchase, right? They use a code that gets them the stuff for free, right? But they still had to go through the process, the checkout process. They had to go to the website. And the reason I do this is because I want them to not only like the shirt, but I want them to approve of the whole process, right? Okay, so how easy was the process? Give me feedback, right? They're here to be a part of the brand, not just be an athlete, right? They're here to, promote the brand, be a part of the brand. And so I want them to be 100% behind the brand when, I put their code out. When I have them running videos or media or whatever, right? And so I have them complete a purchase from the beginning to the end, right? And get feedback from them. If they feel like it's easy to purchase, it's easy to put in their code, all that kind of stuff, they can clearly see that InserSale is a company that exists. Everything is, they've been through the whole process. So when they recommend it to somebody, they can feel confident that InserSale is actually a good company, right? A good company to work for, good company to be a part of, right? And that's what I want as a business owner, as the owner of InserSale, right? And so, but do that for yourself first. Complete the purchase. Make sure there's nothing in there that's going to keep people from. So when I did this for InserSale to begin with, it was making them create an account, right? Shopify was making them create an account, right? So I turned that off, right? So they don't have to create an account. I just need a name, a phone number, and an address, right? Just show me where to ship it to, and put in your credit card information or information to pay, right? And so that in any situation, that's normal, right? And easy and seamless, right? And the shop will connect to their Apple Pay or whatever. So what should I fix first if I have traffic but no sales, right? And so the mistake most people make is assuming that if they have traffic and no sales is to get more traffic, right? Traffic is easy to measure and easy to buy. Fixing conversion requires figuring out why people aren't buying. And to me, most of the time people don't buy because they don't trust you, because they don't know you. This is the first time they saw you, right? And so if you're a small business out there, you know, somebody's gonna have to see you over 10 times for them to ever even consider buying from you, right? And so you'll see it every day, right? And so I get ads every day, and you know, pretty much 90% of the ads is like an absolute not, right? Not even interested at all, one little bit, right? But sometimes you'll stop and be like, oh, that's a cool idea, that's a cool concept, or oh, that would be cool. You know, every once in a while you'll see a gadget up there that's like, oh, well, that'd be nice if I had it. It'd be nice to make ice cream out of protein powder or whatever, you know. But at the end of the day, none of it made me buy it, right? So I'm just not a customer for those items, right? But over time, if I see somebody enjoying that ice cream 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 times, it might be influence me to say, okay, I'll try it, right? So let's diagnose the customer journey in order. Number one is traffic quality, right? And so where are you getting your traffic, right? And so if you're a business-to-business person and you're on LinkedIn advertising, that might be a better lead than a TikTok lead, right? So keep that in mind. Who wears your product? Like, so for me, it's who wears my product. Like, you know, who wears t-shirts? Basically, you know, you'll have that demographic, right? And so you have to figure out who to target, right? What is the message? What message are you sending, right? And so if you're sending a bunch of fat, lazy people something that says, you know, proof not promises, well, the proof for them was that they were fat and lazy, right? And so they're not going to be your customer either, right? But if you send it to that fat, lazy person that wants to be something other than that, then, you know, that might hit them right? So you go traffic quality, message, what's the message? What's the product? What's the value you're bringing? How do you do trust, right? What's your offer and what's your checkout, right? So that's the order in which you diagnose your problems, right? So it's very easy to blame advertising, right? When the real problem may happen after the customer clicks, right? So stop spending more money trying to send people into a funnel that's not working until you can figure out and make it prove that the funnel that you're sending it to works, right? That's basically the point of the video, right? And so getting the traffic is only the first half of the problem. If hundreds of people are visiting and nobody's buying, don't automatically assume you need thousands of more visitors, right? The people already visiting are giving you information, right? Look at your customer journey and ask where the interest disappears. Are they leaving the homepage, viewing products, but not adding a cart but abandoning checkout? Find the biggest friction point and work on that before buying another visitor, right? Difference makers don't celebrate attention that produces nothing. They figure out why attention isn't becoming action. I'm Nate. I'm the owner of InserSell, where 30,000 customers have chosen InserSell. I know you'll be the next one. So be sure to check out InserSell.com. Buy my wife's book, Dylan and Davina, The Adventure Begins, which is available on Amazon. It's written by best-selling Amazon author Meredith Dillon Johnson. And check out her newest book, Dylan and Davina, Visit Nurse Savannah, right? Like this video, comment down below, let me know where your process is messing up. And like, comment, follow for more. Share the video with somebody that needs it, right? And we'll see you in the next one. Peace.